We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones that believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wantin' more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah.
Here's Navarro on the run. Navarro's going to keep it. Navarro for 6! Touchdown, Bobcat!
I feel I had a hard time staying in my own lane.
Oh my intercepted! Red Murdoch! Pick 6! Harvath inside the 30 to 20. Blake Harvath will score! And Mendoza takes a big hit. He never saw it coming. Trey White got in there. There's his man, Rucker. And nobody's going to catch him. Goodbye. Intercepted. Tyree Skipper. Touchdown.
Telly again, why not? A step forward and make it 2 for Telly.
Quarterback keeper. Showing off the speed. Steps on the gas. Untouched.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive, where we bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke. I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. Tonight, we'll bring you up to speed on news around the G5, review what went down in Week 9, and set you guys up for success with our Week 10 previews. And then we're going to close our things out with our waiver wire hunting for those that play college fantasy football. Our 2020 players, we will not have on the show this week, but we're going to tweet out the graphics. Offense is going to be a Tuesday. Defense is going to be Wednesday. And another thing for the college fantasy football lovers, our waiver wire honey. I think this is going to be our last week of that, as a lot of leagues, some start week 11, some start week 12. So
Playoffs,
kind
I
of
had some that
wrapped
started
up.
this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How big of a league is that?
That was Thor's 60 teamer. Playoffs
Okay.
started this week. I didn't make the playoffs,
So we are going to wind that down. So that what that means is that we're going to bring back our 2020 players, but it won't be every single week because not a lot things are going to be changing. So probably the first week or the second week after this week, maybe next week or the week after, we'll do that, and then once then at the end of the season.
Yeah, as we get on in the season, those 2020 player lists don't change drastically. They it seems to get pretty consistent. So, but yeah, we'll highlight them again probably next week, and then once more by the end of the season. But if you're looking for the 2021 20 player data and not just like a top 10 list or top 5 list or anything like that, encourage you to go check out our website. Our website's live, G5Hive.com. Right now, everything that's on this current site is really geared towards college fantasy football players or folks that just really like to look at data. All the tools are on there right now for college fantasy football, but the 2020 player list, like the full list is on there. So you can see how every single player kind of ranks in our list, not just the top 5 guys that we tweet out each week. And it has both Power 4 schools and G5 schools. And you can there's a filter where you can filter G5 or Power 4, filter by conference. So, yeah, just a lot of cool stuff on the website. We've gotten a lot of good feedback, a lot of positive. Folks love it. So if you play college fantasy football and you're looking for an edge, encourage you to sign up on our website. If you go to our X account, you'll see a promo code there. Where you can get a discount on your first year. Also, if you're a CFF site subscriber, if you check out their Discord, there's a promo code in there as well for CFF site subscribers. I will say CFF site subscribers don't get full access to the website. They get access to our League Dominator tool. But still a great deal. Yeah. You ready to get to it? Ready to get to our players of the week?
Let's get to it. My offensive player of the week for week 9 is Rice running back Quentin Jackson. Quentin ran for 168 yards and 3 touchdowns while catching 3 balls for 80 yards and another touchdown to help Rice with a big win over UConn. Congratulations, Quentin.
My defensive player of the week for week 9 is Memphis linebacker Sam Brumfield. Sam had 13 tackles, 9 solos, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1 sack to lead the Tigers to a big victory over South Florida. Congratulations, Sam. My offensive player of the week for week 9, none other than North Texas quarterback Drew Mestamaker. Drew threw for an American Conference and a North Texas record, 608 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Mean Green to victory. Congratulations, Drew.
My defensive player of the week for week 9, Akron linebacker Melvin Spriggs. Melvin had 14 tackles, 8 of which were solo, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks to lead the Zips to a big victory over Buffalo. Congratulations, Melvin. The G5 Hive freshman offensive player of the week for week 9 is none other than North Texas running back Caleb Hawkins. Caleb ran for 48 yards and caught 4 balls for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Mean Green defeated Charlotte in week 9. Another week, another freshman of the week. Congratulations, Caleb.
The G5 Hive freshman defensive player of the week is Kent State safety Joel Cordoba. Joel had 13 tackles, 7 solos, half a tackle for a loss, and a pass breakup to lead the Golden Vat Flashes to victory over Bowling Green in week 9. Congratulations, Joel. One thing, I guess we had a question on X today about our freshman of the week, and they are always true freshmen. Anytime we recognize whether it's freshman of the week or our all freshman team that we'll do at the end of the season, those are always true freshmen. We always like to recognize, the guys doing it fresh out of high school, not necessarily redshirt freshmen. Nothing against redshirt freshmen, but we just prefer to recognize the guys doing it as a true freshman.
All right. Well, should we buckle up, dive right into things?
Yeah, let's get into some news and notes. Boise State head coach Spencer Danielson has announced today that he said wide receiver Chris Marshall will not be a part of the team this week. He says there's a standard to how players interact with coaches, and so it's a disciplinary issue, I assume, with Chris Marshall. I don't know what happened. My assumption is he got into it with a coach. I don't know if it was on the side. I assume it was on the sidelines. We would have seen it on X. Yeah, so don't look for Chris Marshall to be out there with the team this week. Hopefully he can do what he needs to do to get back in the good graces there. Moving on to some injury news. Navy tight end Cody Howard had to be helped off the field after hitting heads with a Florida Atlantic defender in Week 9. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in if Cody Howard is going to be available this week, they got a big matchup this week. So Cody Howard be an important piece for the midshipmen. San Diego State quarterback Jaden Denegal got banged up and had to leave the game versus Fresno State, but he was able to return later, so that's good news. Western Kentucky quarterback Maverick McIver did not play last week. Rodney Tisdale got the start. The interesting thing is McIver was not listed on the injury report, but supposedly he had a shoulder injury. I don't know if Conference USA has any kind of penalty for that, right? You would think like he's your starting quarterback. You don't list him on the injury report, and then he doesn't play due to injury. That seems like a problem to me. I do know that like someone was fined earlier. I don't remember what school it was or what conference, but it was only like $5,000. So it wasn't like it was a huge amount of money.
Well, you got that coupled with I don't know how many people are following the NBA and their whole scandal that they have. Justice, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, the betting scandal.
Yeah, I mean, so and then you just have that betting scandal, and then you have the whole Lamar Jackson last week where he's practiced in full, but then it comes out he's not going to play. But how can if you're full and on Friday, usually you're a go, and then it's like, well, he was with the practice team, and he wasn't actually. It was an honest mistake. So we'll see how much the Ravens get fined for that, or if they lose draft picks or what. But how betting works, we will see how that trickles down to college football.
Yeah, definitely. G5. The NFL at this point, the NFL takes it way more serious than college does. But hopefully, maybe we'll get there with college. Wyoming offensive lineman guard Caden Barnett, he had to get helped off the field versus Colorado State. It looked like a kind of like a knee injury, but he was able to walk off under his own power. Kennesaw State quarterback Amari Odom got banged up in the win in Week 9. He's day-to-day. Sticking with Kennesaw State, running back Coleman Bennett also got injured in the game, but not before he had that 70-yard touchdown catch. But he's also day-to-day. Delaware quarterback Nick Minicucci had to leave late in the game versus Middle Tennessee, so stay tuned for his availability. South Florida linebacker Jalen Schuler went down with a shoulder injury versus Memphis. And as you might imagine, a shoulder injury is typically not good for a linebacker. So he might – I can see him missing some time. South Florida safety Fred Gaskin had a scary collision versus Memphis, but he was able to walk off on his own power. Ball State head coach Mike Rimovich said linebacker Joey Stemler is out for the foreseeable future. He has no timetable on his return. Bowling Green quarterback Drew Pine returned in Week 9, but then he got injured and had to get carted off the field. You have to wonder maybe like his season might be done there for Drew Pine. Georgia Southern defensive lineman Quan McGinney had to be carted off the field in Week 9 with a leg injury. that looked fairly serious. And then finally, Appalachian State tight end Isaiah Cummings had to be carted off the field against Old Dominion after running back Rashad Dubinion collided with him. They have a bye this week. When Isaiah went off, he did give a thumbs up. So I assume it's nothing too serious. It was a strange looking play. Like Dubinion busted it outside, and he literally like ran straight into Isaiah Cummings, who was blocking a defender. And so I don't know if he like rolled up his leg or I don't really know. It was just kind of strange. And matter of fact, on the play, I'm pretty sure Dubinion fumbled. And then ODU picked up and ran it for a touchdown, but they never even reviewed it. It was just really, really weird because it looked like Dubinion when he ran into Isaiah Cummings, like he landed on top of Cummings and he dropped the ball. So he never really hit the ground. That's what it looked like from. I haven't watched the replay. I should go back and watch the replay. But it was just a weird looking play. Like why he ran straight into Cummings, I don't know. But anyway, so that's it for injury news. We normally talk about undefeated and winless teams. We hadn't done that yet this year, so I wanted to do that real quick. There's only one undefeated team in the group of 5, and that's Navy. They're 7-0, and they have a big matchup this week against North Texas. That could eliminate or elevate someone potentially for that college football playoff spot in the group of 5. So that's a huge game. I think we talked about it last week, but the Navy schedule gets significantly harder from here on out. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. I think I saw someone tweet something. I think it was the Herd Bros. But the strength of schedule for Navy goes from like, I don't know, 120 something to like in the 50s the rest of the way, because they have a pretty brutal schedule moving forward compared to what they played to this point. Winless teams in the group of 5, we do have 2, unfortunately. We have the UMass Minutemen. They're 0-8. They won't lose this week though. They're on a bye. And they play Akron next week. And then we have the Sam Houston Bearcats. They're 0-7, and they play Louisiana Tech on Friday. When I look at that Sam Houston schedule, it wouldn't shock me if they go winless. They do play, I think, FIU and maybe UTEP later in the season. Maybe they could get a win there. I don't know. I think they need Hunter Watson healthy to have any hope of getting a win, in my opinion. But those are the 2 winless teams in the group of 5. And I'll talk about some successful teams. The AP top 25. We got Memphis. Memphis jumps into the top 25 with their big win over South Florida. They are at number 25, and they are the lone G5 representative in the AP top 25. We got others receiving votes. We got Navy at number 26 with 86 votes. Tulane at number 27 with 59 votes. South Florida, number 30, 22 votes. San Diego State, number 31 with 14 votes. James Madison, number 33 with 9 votes. And North Texas at number 34 with 4 votes. Again, they have that big matchup with Navy coming up this week. Moving over to our G5 top 25 poll rankings. These are our votes as we submitted them to the Hero Sports G5 top 25 media consensus poll. New number 1 this week. So for those that are listening audio form, I'm going to run down our top 25. We got Memphis at number 1, Tulane number 2, the Midshipmen of Navy at number 3, South Florida Bulls number 4, JMU Dukes at 5, North Texas 6, Boise State 7, San Diego State 8, UNLV 9, East Carolina 10, Hawaii 11, Ohio 12, Troy 13, Southern Miss 14, Old Dominion 15, UConn 16, Kennesaw State 17, Temple 18, Jacksonville State 19, Marshall 20, Fresno State 21, Miami 22, New Mexico Lobos 23, the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky at 24, and Western Michigan rounds out our top 25. I don't know. I think I can speak for me and Luke. I feel like we feel really good about the top 8, right? Like those top 8 seem really solid. After that, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's more personal preference. I feel like that top 8 is pretty solid, and most people would agree those are the top 8 schools. Maybe you might have the order slightly different, but those top 8 feel pretty solid. I don't know. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I feel like those are solid. Some teams that are rising or could rise would be number 11, Hawaii, 13, Troy, 14, Southern Miss. I feel like those teams are kind of like on the uprise, so they could get even higher. I feel like even though Ohio's been winning, it almost feels very Western Kentucky like, and they could just like drop. I think in like when we were putting these together, I think I had Ohio drop like 3 or 4 spots, even though they won, because they just keep having turnovers and really struggle in the first half. And then UConn, I think I just have a soft spot for UConn. I don't know. I probably had them higher than you did. It's just that offense is so explosive, but the defense just hasn't been good lately. But they're just kind of like one game away from me just probably tanking them. But Kennesaw State playing good football, Temple, Jacksonville State, Marshall playing great football right now too. They are kind of on the up and up, I think. And then you have the 21 through 25 that is just like they're still feeling their Fresno State
on the way down.
EJ Warner, he didn't play in the game, so they got trounced. So obviously, when you have your backup quarterback, true sophomore, I believe, probably not going to be great. New Mexico jumps back in. Western Kentucky, like again, they luck into another win.
They did. They totally did.
And I put them in there just because you have to. But yeah.
So some of the biggest differences in our poll versus the Hero Sports consensus top 25 poll. So teams that are not ranked in our poll but are ranked in the consensus top 25, they have Toledo at number 24 and Louisiana Tech at number 25. Excuse me. 2 teams I think like are going the wrong way, right? Like they weren't even like someone I was considering ranking. I don't think Luke did either. And when we combined our votes for our top 25 poll, and then obviously with 2 teams not ranked in ours, there's 2 teams that we have ranked that don't have ranked, and this first one like just utterly shocks me that they're not ranked at all. Is Jacksonville State. So we have Jacksonville State ranked at 19. They're not ranked in the consensus poll. If you go look at the others receiving votes, they're like, I don't know, 29th or something, 28th. So they're not even like 26. That one really shocks me. I think Jacksonville State is a top 25 team in the group of 5, and then the other team that they don't have ranked is Western Michigan. I don't have a big problem with that. We have them number 25.
Something I want to bring up here. We have a comment that says, not sold on this Boise State team. They are almost a mimic of Western Kentucky in a sense of looking into some wins. They just haven't looked good. MACtion, he almost looks like he's regressed as a passer. He like there are some times where I feel like he's like not a true freshman, but like a redshirt freshman in some of the plays that he's making. So they definitely have not looked good. So I would agree with that comment. And then Brett, to your comment, yeah, Toledo did miss their running back last week. Last 2 weeks, Chip Trainum has not played in the game. So by this week, I believe, and then probably comes back.
Yeah, and I saw a comment there. If you've listened to us the last couple of weeks, I've harped on how bad Tucker Gleason is. He's so hot and cold, man. Like he is holding.
You were all on that Tucker Gleason train last year, and then this year, like, I'm off.
Yeah, I'm off the Tucker Gleason train. He's not. He is not a good quarterback. He just seemed like that team has so much talent. Probably have the most talent in the MAC, but Tucker Gleason just is not. He's so hot and cold. So he's definitely a Jekyll and Hyde quarterback. Some of the biggest differences between the teams that we have ranked and are ranked in the consensus poll. So first, we'll start off with the teams that we are much lower than, and this one comes as no surprise. It's been this way for a while, and that's Western Kentucky. We have them at number 24. The consensus poll has them at 14, so a 10-spot difference. I mean, Western Kentucky has been playing during the week, so I'm not at Old Dominion on during the week. I'm only there on the Saturdays, and so I've gotten to watch a lot of Western Kentucky football. And like Luke said, they win, but like they win games where they shouldn't have won. They kind of luck into the wins. They are not a good team. We'll get to the game this week, but man, like Louisiana Tech just kind of like it was atrocious. But anyway, the other team, not a big difference. We have Miami at 22. The consensus poll has them at 18. Only a 4-spot difference, so not anything big there. And then there's only one team that we're higher than or that is a big difference, I should say, and that's UConn.
That's probably because of me.
We have them we have them at 16. I think I had them at 19 in my poll, I think. But we have them at 16. The consensus has them at 20. But again, it's not a huge difference. It's only 4 spots. So really the only two teams where we have a big difference and we don't agree on with the consensus poll is Western Kentucky. And then, like I said earlier, Jacksonville State. Like Jacksonville State is I mean, there's no question in my mind they're a top 25 team. I'm not sure why what the other voters see that make them think that Jacksonville State's not a top 25 team. But anyway. So yeah, that's going to do it for our G5 top 25 poll, and some big games this week. So we should see some moving. So yeah, stay tuned to next week and for that.
All right. Well, let's get into our Pac-12 and UConn recaps, previews. Now for Week 9 review for UConn, they're going to be in or the Week 9 preview, the Washington State, and they played Toledo, so their preview is going to be in the MAC. Wow, I'm really struggling here. So we'll get to them. So they'll be in the MAC. So let's look ahead to Week 10, Saturday game. We got Washington State at Oregon State, 7:30 p.m. I forgot to get the lines up. Let me do that.
Here we go. I get it up real quick. It's Washington State's favored by 3.5, over under 47.5. This game is in Corvallis. I'm interested to kind of see like who's going to start at quarterback for Oregon State. Is it going to be Jabari Johnson? Is it going to be Malik Murphy? I don't know. I think it's going to be Jabari Johnson.
That's what.
Yeah,
I think it should be.
I think that's who it's going to be. I think it's going to be a fun game. These teams play each other twice over the course of the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's part 1 of the Pac-12 championship, if you will. We'll see if one team can win both games and claim the 2025 Pac-12 championship. It'll be interesting to kind of see, like Oregon, you had the coaches fired, a lot of changes there. I don't know if I have a really good feel for there's weeks where I feel like Washington State doesn't play very well, but then they played pretty, they beat Toledo. They played tough against Virginia 2 weeks ago. So it seems like lately they've been playing well. Oregon State coming off a bye after their first win against was it Lindenwood, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Lafayette, was it Lafayette?
Yeah, you're right. It was Lafayette, the Leopards, I think.
Yeah,
I remember it was an L school. But I don't know. I kind of lean Washington State. I just feel like their body of work over the season's been better. And they, like I said, they played Virginia tough, and Virginia's a pretty good team. And then they beat
quarterback plays just a little bit better, so I give the edge to Washington State in the game.
Yeah, but Jabari Johnson could give him some juice there in the running game. I think it's going to be a good game, entertaining game.
I think they make the switch to Jabari Johnson because you have a bye week to prep, get him ready, and insert him into the game.
Because that offense looked a lot better in the second half of the game against Lafayette with him than it did. Because I think they were losing at halftime, right, to Lafayette.
I think it was 7-6 or something.
And then they switched to Jabari Johnson and kind of dominated that second half. So yeah, should be a fun game. Quasi Pac-12 championship game.
All right. Now for UConn, our Week 9 review is in the American review when they played Rice. Week 10 preview also going to be in the American as they have UAB this week. So let's move on over to Conference USA. Week 9 in review, Tuesday games. We have Western Kentucky at Louisiana Tech. This one went to overtime. Like Justice said, Rodney Tisdale got the start. I'm not going to lie. It looked a lot better than MacGyver has this year. Maybe
still didn't look great, though.
Yeah. But the big note here for Louisiana Tech, Jacob Field was back for the defense. So
that's a different Fields. Colby Fields is the other.
Colby Fields.
Yeah.
I got confused. I was like, oh man, this is big. Nope. Okay. So despite the score, 20-7 in favor of Western Kentucky, it felt like Louisiana Tech was the better team. Rough second quarter. They had missed field goal, 2 turnover on downs. Both defenses settled in during the second half. Both defenses played pretty much on par with each other. Both struggled to get off the field on third down, but the Louisiana Tech defense was way better in the second half. Louisiana Tech had a trick play kickoff touchdown to start the second half. It reminded me a little bit of the was it Memphis Miracle or the when Memphis, not the Titans, whatever that was called. But very, very much like that, where they're going one way, throw it back the other way, but that was pretty much the only excitement going on. Louisiana Tech ties it up. Both teams miss field goals in their final drive, forces overtime. Louisiana Tech scores the touchdown. Western Kentucky responds. They go for it on 2, and they get it in overtime. Western Kentucky wins 28-27. And Western Kentucky is now bowl eligible. I think it's the right play to do when, again, next overtime, you got to go for 2 anyways. You might as well use your best play because then you'd be going first, and then it's kind of this what if. So I think that's a good play there by Western Kentucky, and they get the win.
Yeah, the thing that that I don't know irritated me in this game was the end of the clock management and the end of regulation by Louisiana Tech was absolutely atrocious. Like I mean, it was some kind of bad. I mean, they left a timeout on the table. They should have called a timeout. They could have called a timeout, ran another play, and got closer for that field goal try. But then it became abundantly clear they weren't going to call the timeout to try to make another play. But then they didn't even call the timeout for the field goal try. Like, they rushed the field goal team out there. It was just, I mean, I haven't seen clock management that bad in a long, long time. It was like, to me, like, I don't know if it's the head coach or one of his assistants are kind of responsible for like keeping track of timeouts and all that kind of stuff, man. But it was criminal how bad their clock management was at the end of that game. They probably cost themselves a better opportunity for that field goal and to win the game in regulation. Like I said, they had plenty of time to, if they had called that timeout to run. Okay, well, there you go. There, I didn't know that. I just saw where the broadcast said they had a timeout. But yeah, they ran the ball, right? They ran the ball. It was just terrible clock management by Louisiana Tech at the end of that game. I thought it was crazy. It was, and Western Kentucky looks into another win.
All right.
You want to go back to Kennesaw State?
Yeah. Kennesaw State, FIU, no graphics for this one, but Kennesaw State, they're pretty efficient on offense, didn't get to fourth down a whole bunch. Pretty impressed again with Amari Odom at quarterback when he's out there. He's a dynamic, nice running quarterback. Kennesaw State was just better than FIU on first and second down, like I said. They did not get to third down a whole bunch. They were only in third and distance 9 times versus FIU's 15. It was pretty much all Kennesaw State in this one as they win 45-26.
Yeah, even Dexter Williams got in on the party, right? After Amari Odom got baked up, Dexter Williams came in and led him to a drive. Kennesaw State looks good this year. I mean, that Veer and Hoot offense is clicking on all cylinders. Like I said, Coleman Bennett had that big 72-yard touchdown catch early in the game, and they set the tone early, and it was all Kennesaw State.
All right, let's move over to our Wednesday games, and we have Middle Tennessee at Delaware. I don't know if I was more impressed with Middle Tennessee's defensive line getting so much pressure on the quarterback when they rushed 3. It was weird. They would rush 3 and like make life difficult for Nick Minicucci. Rush 4, couldn't get to him. I'm no expert in numbers. I went to public school, but like rushing 3 versus 4, I'm expecting more with 4. But I couldn't be. But I wasn't sure if I was more impressed with like how much pressure they were getting with rushing 3, or more disappointed with the Delaware offensive line. I think I'm more impressed with the 3, but
a lot of it was DeMonte Smith, their defensive tackle. Man, that guy is he's a one-man wrecking crew. He leads the group of 5 defensive tackles in Havoc rate. He's a monster of a human being, and like he generates a lot of pressure on the interior for the Blue Raiders. He's like one of the few bright spots on that Blue Raiders team, especially on the defense.
But you think again with 4 that maybe they're going to put more attention to Smith and there'd still be but no, it was just really weird. But Middle Tennessee scores 14 points off of 2 Delaware turnovers, while Delaware had 3 3-and-outs and an interception following their forced turnovers. Like you mentioned, Justice, Nick Minicucci gets banged up in this one, but they escape and they get a 31-28 win. I think had this gone any longer, like 5-7 minutes, Middle Tennessee probably pulls this one out just due to the not great quarterback play after Nick Minicucci left.
Yeah. Delaware, man, like they're a good team, but they just kind of like Old Dominion, they have turnover problems. And it allows their opponents to kind of stay in the game, or, in some cases like the Western Kentucky game, it's why they lose the game. But hopefully Minicucci can get back to full health, and Delaware can solve those turnover problems. Both Delaware and Missouri State probably going to get to bowl eligibility. Unfortunately, assuming there are no open spots, neither one of them will make a bowl, just because of the rules in terms of teams in transition aren't bowl eligible unless there's not enough teams bowl eligible. And they talked about it in the broadcast. It's an archaic rule. So back when that rule was written, the concern was that teams would jump up for a year or two because the entry to FBS is only $5,000. So they were concerned that FCS teams would just willy-nilly go back and forth when they had a good team and when they didn't. But that's not the case anymore. Like, it's a $5 million entrance fee to get into FBS. So when you move up, you're not going back and forth. Like, I don't think that ever even happened way back when. But it's a pretty archaic rule. Would love to see the NCAA kind of get rid of it, because we've seen, with JMU, Jacksonville State, when they all moved up, like, they had successful seasons. Now, they got to go to some bowls even when they were in the transition because there weren't enough bowl eligible teams. But, like, to me, it shouldn't. If they're playing a full conference slate, there shouldn't be that rule. Just shouldn't exist for those guys. But maybe Delaware and Missouri State will still get in because there won't be enough teams. But regardless, they're both having excellent seasons in their first year in Conference USA.
All right, let's head over to Missouri State at New Mexico State. Another overtime game. There were 3 combined interceptions in the first quarter. Total turnovers, New Mexico State had 4. Missouri State had 3. The first half was some ugly football. 7-7 at the half. Third quarter, Missouri State benefited from a New Mexico State interception and turnover on downs to score 10 points. They're up 17-7 after 3. In the fourth quarter, Missouri State looking to go up 24-7, but Shamari Lawrence fumbles at the 3. Tyler King, friend of the podcast, he had a nice punt return to set New Mexico State up with a nice field position, down 10 with under 8 to go. They hit a field goal to cut the lead to 7. And following a Missouri State punt, New Mexico State scores a touchdown to tie the game. Missouri State misses a 50-yard field goal to force overtime. Missouri misses the 50-yard field goal to, not force overtime, but have to go into overtime. Missouri State gets the ball first. They score a touchdown. New Mexico State starts their drive with a false start. Then Fife is intercepted the next play. Missouri State fumbles the ball, but Missouri State recovers. They win 24-17 in overtime. New Mexico State was not very good on third down, plus throwing 4 interceptions. Not going to be an equation to win many football games.
Yeah, and like he threw like the offensively they looked good until he threw interceptions. Like they were moving the ball, right? But he would throw a pick like at the most inopportune time. And like the one in overtime was just bad. Like, I don't know what he saw or what he thought. Like, it was a really, really bad pass. Feel kind of bad for New Mexico State because I kind of felt like they felt like the better team in general, but turnovers kind of got in the way. Jacob Clark returned from Missouri State, so that was a big boost for them.
All right. So that was the week. We've got bowl eligible teams. Western Kentucky. We will kind of keep track of this each week as to who gets added. It's just a warm, loving hilltopper right there in the middle.
That's right.
I have no doubt. I will probably, when it gets to bowl season and who they have, I'll probably take the other team. Because, like I said, they just have not looked good.
Yeah, but currently they're Western Kentucky, the only bowl eligible team in Conference USA.
All right. Well, let's get to our Week 10 preview. We've got our Tuesday game, UTEP at Kennesaw State, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And in this one, we have get my phone up. We have over/under set at 50.5. Kennesaw State favored by 10.5. I'm going to probably lay them with Kennesaw State. They have looked good. It doesn't matter if it's Dexter Williams. It doesn't matter if it's Omari. If it's Odom. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a good backup. I like Kennesaw State.
Yeah, I think Kennesaw State continues to roll. Like I said, that offense, the Veer and Hoot offense, has been on fire. Hopefully, both Amari Odom and Coleman Bennett will be good to go in this one. Those guys have been key in their offensive resurgence. And then you got Gabe Binyard, too, who's looked really, really well. UTEP, I assume it's going to be Skylar Locklear again. I think that's the right choice. But I just don't think, he's a very gritty quarterback. I just don't think he's talented enough to kind of lead this team to an upset victory over Kennesaw State. And I agree with you. I'm going to take Kennesaw State and lay the 10.5 points.
All right. Wednesday games. We've got Jacksonville State at Middle Tennessee State. 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Jacksonville State favored by 6.5. Over under set at 54.5. I'm going to lay them with Jacksonville State. I feel like 6.5, even on the road, is a low number. I just feel like
I wonder,
this could be a blowout.
I wonder if there's any question about quarterback Caden Creel, right? Like he got injured before the bye week, hyperextended his arm. Hopefully he's healthy and back. We'll see when we get the Conference USA availability report. But Cam Cook, man,
Cam Cook, Jaquil Middlebrook. This is going to be a fun running back battle.
Yeah, but I think the Jacksonville State offense is going to be too much, especially if Creel plays for that middle. Even though DeMonte Smith's been awesome, he can't do it all by himself. I agree with you. I think I take Jacksonville State and lay the 6.5 points. I am interested to see, they've had Hunter Tipton has been stepping up for them on offense. Early in the season, there was a lot of Najee Cox at wide receiver for the Blue Raiders, but lately it's been Hunter Tipton, the wide receiver / tight end. It should be like you said, a good battle of probably two of the most talented running backs in the conference, and Middlebrook and Cam Cook. Yeah, I agree, David. We've talked about this. Was it last week, maybe? That Middle Tennessee's got to find. He's their best player. Middlebrook's their best player on offense. They have to get him the hands. Give him the ball more often. Get the ball in his hands more. Utilize their best player. But even so, I don't think they have it. I don't think they have much for Jacksonville State, especially if Caden Creel plays.
All right. Our other Wednesday game, FIU at Missouri State, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Over under set at 49.5. Missouri State favored by 3.5. I think I'm going to take
Florida national team's going to show up.
That's all. I'm like, I don't know.
The team that demolished Western Kentucky, or the team that got demolished last week at Kennesaw State?
If I'm going to take anything, I'm going to take a Shamari Lawrence anytime touchdown, as it is a rivalry. Yeah, it is. Yes. He comes from FIU. Maybe he has some bad taste in his mouth. Shamari Lawrence maybe gets a touchdown. But yeah, FIU's just been up and down. We talked about it last week. When I think they're going to win, they lose. When I think they're going to lose, they win. Up is down.
Well, I think this is a week they're due, right? Like they've had two not so good weeks in a row. So it feels like this would be a week opportunity for Florida National to kind of have an upswing week against Missouri State. I don't know if I feel good enough about the spread to bet either way. Maybe take the over. I don't know. But the over assumes – I don't think there's going to be a problem with Missouri State scoring points. If you take the over, you're assuming it's going to be a good week for Florida National, and they're going to be able to score points as well.
Or that Missouri State's not going to throw interceptions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
like they did this past week. But, yeah, I think this game, could be have some sneaky shootout potential despite the over-under only being 49.5. Both these offenses, if they're clicking on all cylinders, they can score some points.
All right, Friday, Halloween. Going to be a scary night for Sam Houston. Sam Houston at Louisiana Tech, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Over under set at 48.5. Woof. Louisiana Tech favored by 16.5. That is a large number, but I'm going to lay them with Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, especially if Hunter Watson. I mean, to me, that line kind of tells me Hunter Watson isn't playing. With the line that large, I think if Hunter Watson's playing, I probably would take Sam Houston if I was assured that Hunter Watson would play the whole game. But that line to me kind of indicates he's not playing. It seemed like never heard anything official, but last time out it seemed like Hunter Watson had a concussion. He didn't play in the second half. So obviously, if he really did have a concussion, he's gonna have to clear protocol. And I don't know that line. That's what that line tells me. Blake Baker has played really, really well. If you stick around to the end of the show, here's a sneak peek. I have quite a few Louisiana Tech guys in my waiver wire picks for this week, specifically because of this matchup against probably the worst defense in all of the FBS is Sam Houston. So I really do like Louisiana Tech in this game. I really like Blake Baker and what he can do, and their running back Thevenin. He's looked really good the past couple weeks, and again they have that juicy matchup against that terrible Sam Houston defense. Hopefully Hunter Watson's back and we get a good game. But if there's no Hunter Watson, this game could get really ugly really quick.
All right, Saturday games. Delaware at Liberty, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Liberty favored by 3.5. Over under set at 51.5. Give me Delaware. The points.
Unless Minicucci's not playing.
I mean, maybe that's what that tells me is that, I don't know, but give me Delaware in the points.
Yeah, I mean, if Minicucci's out, I would take Liberty. But if Minicucci's healthy and he's going to play, give me Delaware and get in the 3.5 points. I think Delaware wins the game outright if Minicucci plays. Whereas if he doesn't play, then I would take Liberty and lay the 3.5 points. Liberty's offensive line is atrocious. Really, the only thing Liberty has going for them is Ethan Vasco. Their defense, Liberty defense, is not good. I expect, again, if Minicucci's playing, I expect him to be able to throw all over them. Silver, Ellison, and Minicucci to run all over that defense. Vasco, like I said, is the only good thing about Liberty. Maybe Evan Dickens will be back fully healthy. We saw him. He seemed to be kind of taking over that backfield. Then he got injured. He was back their last game. They had a bye week, so maybe they get a healthy Evan Dickens back, and that'll help some. But the Liberty offensive line is just so bad, man. They rely on Ethan Vasco and his legs to bail them out a lot. I don't think he's going to be able to bail them out against Delaware if Minicucci's healthy and playing.
All right, and our last game for Conference USA, New Mexico State at Western Kentucky, kickoff 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Western Kentucky favored by 9.5, over under set at 53.5. Give me New Mexico State and the points in this one. Western Kentucky just hasn't been playing good football. They've been lucking into wins. I do think that they could win this one too, because New Mexico State, they're going to pass the ball a lot. They pass at a clip, I think that's like 16th in the nation in passing attempts per game. So they're going to throw the ball a lot, but has led to a lot of turnovers from Logan Fife. So if he can protect the ball, I think New Mexico State can win this one outright. But history shows me he's not been able to do that. So I will take Western Kentucky in the win, but New Mexico State in the points for me. 9.5 is a big number for me.
I agree with you. I think New Mexico State's going to keep it within the 9.5 because I don't think they're going to have the amount of turnovers they did last week. Wouldn't shock me if New Mexico State wins this game, but it kind of feels like this is going to be a game Western Kentucky wins by like 3. And to get their 7th win and to go 5-1 in Conference USA. So,
all right, well, let's move on over to the American Conference Friday night game. What a doozy we had in the sense of just history in this game. First half, other than the first drive by North Texas, I would have been hard pressed to tell you which team was 6-1 and which team was 1-6. Like Charlotte looked, I'm not going to say pretty good. They looked decent. North Texas was all out of sorts. In the first half, Drew Mestemaker had 329 passing yards. Charlotte wide receiver Javen Nicholas had a half. He had 4 receptions, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rush for 20 yards. North Texas would get things clicking in the second half as they would outscore Charlotte 37-3. North Texas was up 7. They stopped Charlotte on a fake punt deep in their own territory. I don't think it really it didn't fool anybody. I really don't know what was going on. North Texas has a 70-yard tunnel screen to Wyatt Young, puts them up 40-20, and then but they bobbled an extra point. But that was just the backbreaker in this one. If like I said, Charlotte was playing well, okay, and once they had that 70-yard screen to the house, game over. Record holder for passing yards in a game in North Texas and an American Conference history, like Justice mentioned earlier, 608 for Drew Mestemaker. Former American Conference records were both 601 yards in 2007. Daniel Meager? Is that how you say it? Meager? And then all the way back in UCF, Dylan Gabriel, now Cleveland Brown quarterback. So it's been a while. I honestly kind of forgot about UCF being in the American. Not that
it's a couple years ago.
It's just been a bit. So that record been around. Saturday games, number 18 at Memphis. This one was a fun game to watch. Man, I wish Memphis would not have lost to UAB because it would have made it just even better. But South Florida scored a 73-yard touchdown to go up 31-17 with USF up 17 heading into the fourth. You kind of saw it wouldn't be too much longer, that it would be too much for Memphis to come back. Memphis scores a quick touchdown. South Florida punts. Memphis scores a field goal. They cut the lead to 5 with about 7 minutes left. South Florida is up 5. Here you start to think about their 4th and 3 from the Memphis 7. They did not convert in the third quarter. Should they have kicked the field goal? And at that time, they would have gone up 10. And here, this means they would have been up 8. They punt it back to Memphis with just under 5 minutes to go. Memphis marches down the field 70 yards. They score a touchdown. They go up 1. Lewis runs it in for the 2-point conversion to go up 3. They had to review it, do all that stuff. He's in. South Florida with their last chance to hold, their playoff destiny. They marched 51 yards in 1 minute, 7 seconds to set up the Grammatica for a 52-yard field goal. And he's been automatic.
Automatica Grammatica.
And he was, I put it on the notes wide right. I'm pretty sure he was wide left in the sense. It didn't look good in this one, but Memphis wins 34-31. Huge win. Maybe just tells me that they were overlooking UAB in that rivalry game and looking forward to USF.
Yeah, I mean UAB hadn't defense was god awful, right? But UAB got the juice from the coach firing, and to your point, Memphis probably overlooked them. It is kind of interesting though, like that the AP voters kind of like it would seem in their mind they've kind of forgiven that loss, right? That Memphis loss because UAB was a bottom 10 team, right? And they lost. Memphis lost to a bottom 10 team. So it's like the voters quickly forgot or quickly forgave Memphis for that loss by getting this big win over South Florida. It's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens in the American. We're already starting to see it a little bit. Like we talked about it. Will the American cannibalize themselves and potentially cost the conference the college football playoff spot? We'll see. Got another big matchup coming up this week.
All right. UConn at Rice. This one, another fun one that went into extra football twice. So, UConn kicker, he slipped twice in this game. One on an extra point. The other one was on, and he made that one. The other one was on a field goal. He missed that one. I don't know what was going on. There was definitely some rain that the holder started like using his towel to wipe down the area around where he was planting. It just was slick. It looked awkward. It was weird. I've never seen anything like it. But anyways, UConn kicker, he slips twice. About 30 seconds to go. The unforgotten play of the game for me was the UConn punter. He has the ball about fly over his head. Game is tied. He snaps here. He grabs that ball, brings it down, and has a clean punt. If he's unable to get that ball, it probably rolls close to the end zone, maybe even in the end zone. Rain started coming down in the fourth with about 5 minutes to go in the game, and it was pouring by the end of regulation. Both teams get touchdowns in the first overtime. UConn gets a field goal, and Quentin Jackson adds to his big day with a 23-yard touchdown in the second overtime. I'm not going to lie. This orbital option that Rice runs was no joke. UConn had a hard time defending it. We talked about Quentin Jackson's big day. He's just an explosive kid. Small, but he is explosive. Again, player of the week for me, 21 carries, 168 yards, 3 touchdowns. Led the team in receiving with 3 receptions for 80 yards, a touchdown, 248 total yards on the day. And Joe Fagano, also a big day for UConn, 344 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interception. He's been on a tear. But I will say when that rain started coming down, passing the ball became a little bit tougher for UConn and holding on to the ball. But like I said, in this one, Rice wins double overtime, 37-34.
Yeah, and it was Chase Jenkins was out there, and that's a key for this offense. Like the offense needs that threat of a mobile quarterback. So Chase Jenkins coming back out and being able to play this week for Rice was huge. And to your point, I've talked about it numerous times. Quentin Jackson, he is the explosive playmaker on this team. Like he's like the only one they have. And like he's small, man, but he is so dynamic with the ball in his hands. Like to see him get he got a lot of work, this past week, but there's been some weeks where he, only gets like 12 touches or so. And it feels like they just got to figure out ways to get the ball in his hand. Kind of like we talked about Middlebrook. Quentin Jackson is the man in terms of those kinds of plays. And so they got to continue to get the ball in Quentin Jackson's hands as they go forward.
There is also a running back, true freshman, who looked
DeAndre Hardiman Jr.
Yeah. He looked pretty good. He didn't get a lot of touches, but he made an impression on me. So definitely got to watch. I'm pretty sure we talked about him and highlighted him in our Worker Bee series.
We did. It was
He's like one of those like guys that just comes from like a really good school that the Rice doesn't typically get those types of kids that brought him in. So a guy got to watch for sure. All right. Temple at Tulsa, another extra football game, 14-10 Temple, and they go for it on 4th down in the second quarter, under 2 minutes. Simons is stuffed on an option read. Tulsa ends up scoring a touchdown. Tulsa now ahead 17-14 at the half. There was an exciting third quarter. There were 21 points scored. It was 28-24. Temple after 3. Temple would go up 7 after a field goal with 6:05 left. Tulsa would respond with a touchdown and tie the game up at 31. Key plays on the drive where Temple had back-to-back pass interference calls. One was on 3rd down that gave Tulsa new life, and Hayes had a 44-yard pass to Josh Smith. Temple had the ball first, and each team scores a touchdown in the overtime, but Tulsa decides to go for 2. They do not convert on a pass to tight end Brody Foley, who's been on a tear the last couple weeks. Temple escapes 38-37. Simon with 5 passing touchdowns on the day. Had some of these guys not really blown up, he would have been one of those guys putting his name up there for Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, and I think I saw something after this win. Casey Keeler is the most winning coach from active coaching standpoint. He's the winningest coach that's still active, and we've talked about it before. Casey Keeler, man, that's all he does is win, and I know like the Temple record's not going to be anything like stupid or crazy, and so he's not going to get consideration and recognition. But man, like he deserves a Coach of the Year. I think Temple had not won more than 3 games since 2019. I think was a stat I read today. And yeah, Casey Keeler is just a winner. I know he's an older guy. He's not going to get consideration. I don't think for any of these P4 openings. But man, like he deserves it. He deserves it. He's one of the best coaches in college football.
All right. Let's get to FAU at Navy, 21-13. Navy at the half. However, they went for a touchdown from the 2 as time expires. They didn't convert. It was a 13-play, 96-yard drive that took up 5 minutes and 31 seconds, and they got no points. Just kind of demoralizing there. Third quarter, Navy turnover on downs at the FAU 42. FAU then misses a field goal. Navy turned it over on down again. FAU at the FAU 19, and then FAU Dominique Henry fumble. So a lot of turnovers and missed opportunities there in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, Navy touchdown, FAU INT. Navy touchdown makes it 35-13. FAU would score a touchdown with 5:38 left in the game, making it 35-19. But the game is well in hand. But just to make sure, after an onside kick by FAU, Navy's Blake Horvath keeps it for a 31-yard touchdown, and Navy is up 42-19 with 5:29 left. They end up winning this one 42-32. And if you're curious about how FAU scored 13 points in 5 minutes and 29 seconds, they had a touchdown, onside kick recovery, and then another touchdown there. Like I said, Navy wins 42-32.
Yeah, Navy, they're undefeated, but they have not played a strong schedule at this point. And as I said earlier, the schedule is going to get much more difficult moving forward, starting with this week.
All right, let's move into our Week 10 previews. Thursday game, got Tulane.
First we got
eligible.
Bowl eligible teams. We got 5 teams in the American that are bowl eligible after Week 9. We got the Tulane Green Wave, Memphis Tigers, South Florida Bulls, North Texas Mean Green, and the Navy Midshipmen. Those are the cream of the crop, if you will, in the American. And we got 2 of them playing each other this week in Week 10.
All right, now we're going to get to Week 10. Thursday game, Tulane at UTSA, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Tulane favored by 4.5 points, over under set at 55.5. Give me Tulane laying the points 4.5.
I got 3.5 on my screen.
Oh, you got 3.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me refresh mine. I still have 4.5. Either way, I'm taking Tulane.
Yeah, I agree. I think UTSA, man, like the offense, other than Robert Henry, and Robert Henry slowed down considerably from what he was doing early in the year. I think teams have just, I'm assuming they're just stacking the box, right? Like because the passing offense hasn't looked as formidable as you would have thought for UTSA, and so I think teams are maybe respecting the pass too much in the beginning, and now they're really focusing in on Robert Henry. He hasn't gone nuts like he did the first couple games of the year, and so yeah, I think Jake Retzlaff, Tulane. There's a opportunity for them to kind of, after the South Florida loss, to kind of keep the momentum on their side and march towards that American championship game. I think they roll against UTSA, even though the game is in San Antonio.
Friday game, Halloween, Memphis at Rice, 7 p.m. kickoff. Memphis favored by 14.5, over under set at 49.5. I'm going to take the over in the points. Memphis.
Is this a game where like Memphis could just? I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Like, well, right, because they're coming off the high. We saw it happen with UAB. Could they get got by Rice? It's an option offense. It's a little strange, a little weird. I mean, I don't think it's likely to happen, but at the same time, they
have Tulane the week after.
Could they be looking ahead to that Tulane game?
I think they learn. I think they learn from their mistakes. But I think Memphis wins this one. I'm going to lay them. Actually, no, I'm not going to lay them with the 14.
It's an avoid for me. I think this game's altogether an avoid for me in terms of betting.
I would take the over in points. I feel pretty good.
It's like Memphis should win this game, but they could. I mean, they should have beat the ever loving crap out of UAB, and that didn't happen either. So, but I think it's gonna be a fun game, right? I mean, I think it's gonna be. I mean, if you forced me to bet, I would take Rice in the points because I think they can keep it close against Memphis.
I guess look at if there's any weather in this game. See if anybody falls down on this turf. That's what I'm.
Yeah, it looks like 70 degrees. It looks like 70 degrees and sunny. So it doesn't look like there's any precipitation. But speaking of weather, it's a good segue. We do have weather reports for each game up on our site. So yeah, just another something we added late last week. But yeah, the weather reports for each game are up on our website.
All right, Saturday games, we have UAB at UConn, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff, over under set at 63.5. UConn favored by 12.5 points. I would be taking the over in the points, which might sound crazy, but I don't think 63.5 is enough. UConn offense been tearing it up. UAB been throwing the ball. It doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. UAB and UConn defense not very good. Obviously, UAB's a little bit worse than UConn's. Give me the over in the points.
Yeah, I agree. I would take the over here. I'm interested to see if it's going to be Jalen Kitna or Ryder Burton again at quarterback for UAB. I don't think it matters. The offense has been prolific with either of those guys. Look for Iverson Hooks, who had a monster game 2 weeks ago. I look for this game to be a big shootout. A lot of production from the quarterbacks, Iverson Hooks and Skylar Bell for the UConn Huskies. Skylar Bell's had an amazing season, right? It's very under the radar and very quiet. Folks haven't been talking about it, but Skylar Bell, the wide receiver for UConn, has been phenomenal this year. And look for that to continue here in week 10. And yeah, I agree with you, Luke.
I believe this week or last week, he got a Shrine Bowl invite. So
yeah, he's had a phenomenal season. Very quiet under the radar. But it's like He's 100+ yards and a touchdown every single week, it seems.
Yep. All right. Let's move over to Army at Air Force, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Air Force favored by 1.5. Over under set at 49.5. Give me the over in the points. I just think both these offenses are explosive, especially Air Force, and both of these defense aren't incredibly good at stopping anybody, especially Air Force. So give me the over of 49.5 points.
I'm interested to see the Cale Helms versus Liam Sarka battle, right? Like,
Yeah.
those are the two headliners in this game for me anyway. And like, I don't know, I think they're both going to just have monster games on the ground. It's going to be a fun game to watch. ODU doesn't play, I think, until 3:30 that day. So this is definitely something I'm going to have to watch in addition to the next game here. But I think it's going to be a fun game to watch these two quarterbacks, Helms and Sarka, run the option for their respective teams.
All right. The game that Justice wants to watch, 7-0 Navy at 7-1 North Texas, 12 p.m. Kickoff. North Texas favored by 6.5 points. Over under set at 65.5. Am I crazy to take the over of 65.5?
I like the over, and I like North Texas by 6.5 too. I don't know, the Navy. I mean, given who they played to this point, I haven't been as impressed with that Navy offense. And so they've I don't know, they've won the games, but they haven't blown anyone out really. It's been close games.
Well, I think it's that defense hasn't played up to what I thought they should be at this year.
Yeah. And I think the game being at North Texas, shame on game day for not going to this game, right? Like, well, they're going to frickin' Utah against Cincinnati. Seriously, like, you got between these two teams, you have one loss, and the one loss was to South Florida, right? And like, who I still think they're probably the best team, top to bottom in the group of five. But yeah, shame on ESPN and game day not going to this game this Saturday and instead going to Utah Cincinnati. I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like it would have been a great game to kind of feature two of the best in the G5. But yeah, I like the mean green. As we saw last week, the offense is rolling. The defense is much improved under Skylar Cassidy, and I think they're going to get the win this week. And it just starts the rough schedule that we've been talking about several times tonight with Navy. The schedule gets infinitely more difficult from this point on. Yeah, they still have, I think, Notre Dame to go to. But yeah, give me North Texas and the mean green. I like them laying the 6.5 points, and I like the over of 65.5.
All right, and our last game here in the American East Carolina at Temple, 2 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Over under set at 58.5. ECU favored by 4.5. I'm staying clear of this one. Temple's been playing great football. ECU hasn't been playing like super great, but their offense has been explosive from time to time. But defense, I think how many games was it or quarters was it that they didn't allow a touchdown? Like,
their defense has played phenomenal, East Carolina. Like heading into the season, like, if you told me to be worried about something for East Carolina, I would have 1,000% been worried about the defense, not the offense. But in reality, it's been the opposite. It's been true. The defense has played solid week in and week out. It's the offense that's struggled against the good teams and played well against the bad teams. This is going to be an interesting matchup, and this one I think also has some sneaky, high scoring shootout potential as well. Temple with Evan Simon, Kalijah Holloway. You got East Carolina, Caton Hauser, Anthony Smith, Yannick Smith. I could see this being a high scoring affair. Temple wins this game. Temple gets the bowl eligibility. And like I said earlier, I think they since 2019 they've only won. I think they haven't won more than 3 games in a season, and here they are in week 10 with an opportunity to become bowl eligible. Again, an incredible job by Casey Keeler. I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. If I have to bet something in this game, I'm going to take the over.
All right. Let's move on over to the Sun Belt Conference and our Week 9 review. We got our Thursday night game, South Alabama at Georgia State. Game starts off pretty fast with 35 first quarter points. Second quarter, all about missed field goals as both teams missed one. Third quarter, South Alabama had -4 yards and all Georgia State in this one. That momentum carries into the fourth. Game tied at 31. Georgia State fumbles at their own 36 with around 4 minutes to go. South Alabama would lean on Kentrell Bullock as he rushes the ball 7 times for 47 yards and caps off the drive with what would become the game-winning touchdown. Jaguars win 38-31.
I was impressed with Cameron Brown in this game. He looked good. I mean, to Ben Moore's point, I don't know. I think he said 2 or 3 weeks ago, they need to go to Cam Brown and stick with Cam Brown, and they finally did that. And he had a pretty good game. I really thought they were gonna. I thought Georgia State was gonna win that game. They seemed to have a lot of the momentum, particularly in the second half. But they just couldn't get it done. Like you said, Kentrell Bullock just willed the Jaguars to victory. Be interesting to kind of see what happens moving forward. Because with that loss, Georgia State can't get to bowl eligibility now. I realize he's only been there 2 years. This is year 2, but would they even consider making a change there for the coaching staff there at Georgia State? My prediction is Del McGee is safe, but you're going to see a coordinator or two get axed at some point between now and the end of the year.
All right, Saturday game, App State at Old Dominion. Justice, take it away.
Yeah, it's the game was not as close as the score would indicate. J.J. Cole got the start for App State. I was texting Luke during the game. J.J. Cole looked god-awful. He threw 2 interceptions. He should have thrown 4. Old Dominion dropped 2 of them. There was a point early in the game. I think it was 7-0 Old Dominion, and it was on. I don't know. They were getting ready to score. I don't know what down it was, but he just threw a god awful pick right over the middle. And then that just kind of that was the story of the game. I feel like if they had gotten that touchdown, the game could have been very, very different. Old Dominion really controlled this game, and until App State got 2 touchdowns at the end to make the game close. But Old Dominion had a lot of missed opportunities. They missed several field goals in the game. Towards the end there, it was, I want to say 2nd and 5 maybe, or from the 5. So 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. And Colton Joseph goes to his right. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It was wide open. He could have ran that thing in. And for some reason, he decided to throw across his body to the middle of the field. It wasn't a great throw. The wide receiver missed it. But the very next play, Colton Joseph throws the interception. And that's kind of what led to App State getting those 2 touchdowns there at the very end of the game. Said it, I started getting a little bit nervous. I don't know why. I don't know if Colton just didn't look in front of him and see that the field was wide open. He could have literally, me and Luke could have ran that ball in for a touchdown. There was nobody there. But why he decided to throw it across his body, I don't know. AJ Swan comes in and he gave him some juice, man. He gave him some juice. He led them to those 2 touchdown drives. App State had to go for the onside kick. Fortunately, Old Dominion recovered and were able to get the win. Hopefully, I mean if you look at the stat line, you're gonna say, well, ODU only turned the ball over once, but that's not really true. They had 2 other. Colton Joseph, in my mind, had 3 turnovers in the game. There was an interception he threw early in the game that got overturned by a roughing the passer call. So he got bailed out there. And then there was a drive where he fumbled running the ball. Fortunately for us, the App State guy that recovered the fumble, he was half his body was out of bounds. So it remained ODU ball. So, folks just looking at the box score might think, well, maybe ODU kind of solved their turnover problems. And they didn't. There should have been 3 turnovers. We just got fortunate that there's penalties, or like I said, the guy was halfway out of bounds when he recovered the fumble. But nonetheless, Old Dominion got the win. The receivers, Naeem Gladding, Trey Brown, Corey Thomas, all 3 of those guys are really, really good. The one thing that kind of puzzled me in this game was the running back usage. We didn't see much of Traquan Jones. I don't know if he did play. I don't know if he's injured or what was going on. He was so explosive, just a couple weeks ago. But he didn't get a lot of run in this game. We did see another explosive play from Catravian Hargrove in the passing game. He had a long touchdown run. That's his second long touchdown run of the season. I'm pretty sure this Old Dominion offense is the most leads the all of college football in explosive plays. Whether that's 70 plus yards or 40 plus yard plays. I think Old Dominion has 2 players that have 2 70 plus yard plays, and that they're both they're all passing plays. Catravian Hargrove in the passing game, the running back, and then Trey Brown, the wide receiver. Those 2 guys each have 2 70 plus plays. So explosive offense for Old Dominion. They just have to solve this turnover stuff, man. Like, yeah, fortunately this game, they got lucky and it didn't come back to bite them, but that's kind of what's bitten them, all season long. So hopefully they can get it fixed.
All right. ODU wins it 24-21. Don't know if the score was ever said, but moving on to Louisiana Monroe at Southern Miss. 21-14 at the half in favor of Southern Miss. Southern Miss would break things open in the third with 2 touchdowns. Louisiana Monroe would have 2 interceptions, and after 3, it was 35-14. Southern Miss would score again with about 13 minutes to go in the game and go up 42-14. Southern Miss wins this one by final 49-21. Louisiana at Troy. In the first, we were tied at 7. And then Troy misses the field goal, then throws an interception. Louisiana would turn that into 7 points, and Troy would have a turnover on downs. The momentum went back to Troy as Jaquez White intercepts Walker Howard's only pass attempt of the day and ran it in 30 yards to the house. Next drive was another interception, this time by Lunch Winfield, that Troy would only need 42 seconds to turn that into 7 points, and now up a touchdown on Louisiana. In the third, Troy got another touchdown, and Louisiana was only able to score 3 in the quarter. It is 28-20 Troy after 3. Louisiana would score a field goal with about 7 minutes to go in the game and make it 28-23. However, Tucker Kilcrease marched Troy right down the field, and Jordan Lovett would score from 19 yards out to make it 35-23 with 2:55 left. Lunch Winfield threw another interception, and Troy wins this one 35-23. Shelton Sampson returns in this one. He goes 5 receptions for 74 yards and a touchdown, leading the team in receptions. No Tate Meadows in this one, as Jordan Lovett took over, and he had 21 rush attempts, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Interesting that Walker Howard really only had that one attempt. Because it wasn't like Lunch Winfield set the world on fire either. It'd be interesting to see what they do moving forward with those two guys. I don't know. I just feel like maybe Walker Howard's not 100% yet. I don't know. I just feel like he's.
I think it's going to be Lunch.
Think so?
Going forward, I mean, they went back to him, and I don't really know if it was by design to get him some playing time. I mean, they were playing fine. I don't know if they were necessarily playing to the point that I would have pulled him for a different quarterback. So I can't remember what team it was earlier, but there's just this prescriptive, hey, we're going to play this quarterback. And it just didn't make sense. I mean, everything was going so well. Why would you pull this guy? And it just kind of messed everything up. Sometimes coaches get in their own head.
But I mean, it's not like they're winning with Lunch Winfield. So that's I don't know. I feel like, Walker Howard played so well in the beginning.
And David,
we've talked about that.
Tucker Kilcrease improvement from last year, but even his first 2 or 3 games this year.
Yes.
Way different, playing really well.
I remember the game against Buffalo, Tucker Kilcrease was god-awful, and they kept rotating him and another quarterback, and they were both just so bad. Don't know what clicked for Tucker, but something clicked, and he started playing really, really well.
All right, Georgia Southern at Arkansas State. Things start out rough for the Red Wolves as Georgia Southern scores an opening drive touchdown. Then Rayner throws an INT. Georgia Southern turns that turnover into 7 points. Arkansas State down 14-0 pretty quick. Red Wolves would chip away as they are getting momentum in the second quarter. They get a field goal to cut the lead, 14-10, and force a 3-and-out. However, Arkansas State fumbles. Georgia Southern turns that turnover into 7 points on their drive. They end up going up 21-10. Arkansas State would score before the half to make it 21-17, and they get the ball to open the second half. They score a touchdown on their opening drive, now up 24-21, and it seemed like momentum was in their favor, but both teams just kept punting the ball back to each other. It felt like at any minute Arkansas State would take control, but they just never really did. Well, until they scored a touchdown, they had 9:47 left in the game to go up 31-21. Both teams would trade field goals at the end. Arkansas State survives at home after that rough start. Kenyon Clay, 17 attempts, 124 yards and a touchdown, and Devin Spencer, 14 attempts for 123 yards, no touchdowns. Rayner doesn't throw any touchdown passes, but had 54 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Like I said, Arkansas State wins this game 34-24.
Bowl-eligible teams in the Sun Belt. We got the James Madison Dukes, Southern Miss Golden Eagles, and the Troy Trojans. Hopefully my Old Dominion Monarchs can join this list after a win here in Week 10.
All right.
Speaking of Week 10.
Let's get into our Week 10 previews. We got our Tuesday game, James Madison at Texas State, 8 p.m. kickoff. James Madison favored by 6.5 points. Over under set at 55.5. I feel like give me the over the 55.5. JMU defense been playing well. Texas State can put up points. I'm curious if they can put up points against this defense, but if they can, they're pretty explosive. JMU offense been putting up points. Texas State defense not so good.
Yeah, I think this is the week that the JMU streak of holding all opponents under 300 total yards goes away. I think Texas State's going to do it. I mean, I thought my Old Dominion Monarchs were going to do it when we had, I think 278 yards in the first half. And you think, oh well, they're gonna break the streak. No, we had a total of 8 yards in the second half to keep that streak alive. Man, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a JMU hater. I like Texas State in this game, actually. it's a home game for them. Both teams coming off the bye. It just really feels like Texas State, man. Like you said, the defense has played so bad lately. I don't know. It just seems like they really need the win. I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, and it's the ODU fan in me is hoping that James Madison loses. But I think nonetheless, I think it's going to be a good game. Should be a good good battle between Brad Jackson and Alonzo Barnett III. Lincoln, you know what's going to be interesting is Lincoln Perry, right, against this defense. Their rush defense has been really good, but Lincoln Perry has been one of the better running backs in the Sun Belt. It's gonna be a good game.
Sun Belt, but the G5.
In all the G5, absolutely. Should be a good game.
All right, Thursday. I'm actually really excited to watch this one. Marshall at Coastal Carolina, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Marshall favored by 4.5 points. Over under set at 53.5 points. I feel like I want to take the over in the points. I'm just terrified because I don't really know what Coastal Carolina team I'm going to get. Marshall's been on a hot streak. They're coming off a bye. Carlos Del Rio Wilson been slinging the ball. I'm just excited to see. I feel like they're both ascending teams, just differently. I think Marshall is just a little bit higher than Coastal, but like we talked about earlier, Coastal was, I thought, one of the worst teams in college football, just a mere 5 weeks ago. And then they kind of do this Houdini act, and then they're great. I'm like, okay, well, which team am I watching? And I think I'm on the side of Coastal is better than I thought they were. And maybe it's the free concessions. Maybe that's what it is. But I think I'm going to take the over because I don't necessarily think that either defense is spectacular.
I wish I knew who was going to start at quarterback for Coastal. I mean, I feel like it's got to be Samari Collier, right?
It's got to be.
I mean, he's
100%. It's got to be.
He's the one that's kind of giving them some juice when he's in there, man. And if he is the starter, I do like the over in the game. But I do like Marshall to win. I would take Marshall laying the 4.5 points. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, he is a good quarterback. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the Sun Belt. He hooks up with DeMarcus Lacey. Those guys, look for those guys to both have big weeks against Coastal. I like Marshall in this one.
All right, Saturday games, ODU at UL Monroe, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Kickoff, Old Dominion, 16.5 point favorites, over under set at 53.5. 16.5 is a big number, but
it opened at 13.5 is what I was told anyway. 53.5 is a big number. I don't know if to me, them get to 53.5, ODU's got to score a lot of points. I feel like the ULM defense is pretty decent. ULM, wants to. They're a very physical team. They want to run the ball, smash mouth, and play good defense. I don't know. I generally don't bet on Old Dominion games.
Going on the road, Old Dominion 16.5 point favorite.
First time in Louisiana too. First time they're playing in Louisiana. We've hosted Louisiana schools in Norfolk, but they have never played in the state of Louisiana. So it's the first time they're playing UL Monroe, period, and first time they're playing in the state of Louisiana.
So that 16.5 on the road just is a big number. I think
it's all about turnovers, man.
I think ODU won't be able to get out of the way of themselves, and ULM maybe forces a couple of turnovers.
If they can control the turnovers, I can see them winning by 16.5. But like I said, this past week, the box score shows 1. It should have been 3. I just know I don't ever bet on ODU because my heart's. My heart. I don't like to bet with my heart, so I like ODU to win the game and get the bowl eligibility, and that's kind of my take on the game.
All right, Louisiana at South Alabama, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. South Alabama favored by 3.5. Over under set at 54.5. I'm staying clear of this game because South Alabama, I just never kind of know what they're like. Their game this last week blew me out of the water. That's kind of the team I was expecting all year long. We haven't really had that team. The Raging Cajuns, again, what are they going to do at quarterback? I think it's going to be Lunch Winfield. Shelton Sampson comes back, plays pretty well. Just a game I think it'll be fun to watch, but I want no part of. But an interesting matchup of two teams, both with 2-6 records.
Yeah, I think it should be a good game, high-scoring game. I guess if I had to pick something, I'm going to take the over. Look for Kentrell Bullock and Devin Voisin. Those are the focal points of that South Alabama Jaguar offense. Can Bishop Davenport put together back-to-back good games? Right, like he hadn't had good games, stat-wise for a while. He had a big game this past week. Can he put it together again for a second week in a row? I don't know. We'll see. But I think it should be a high-scoring and entertaining game.
All right. Arkansas State at Troy, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Troy favored by 7.5 points. Over under set at 52.5. I think I'm going to lay the points with Troy. So I don't like that hook, but I think if I have to take one side or the other, I'm going to take the points with Troy.
Trojans have been playing much better as of late than Arkansas State. Arkansas State, we talked about when we talked about their game in week 9, and it was the same thing in week 8, where you just keep waiting for them to get things going, and it just never really happens. They get the win, but they never seem to truly kind of get over that hump. And so give me Troy in this game.
All right. No bowl eligibility.
We already did bowl eligibility earlier.
Oh, sorry.
For Sun Belt.
Okay. All right. Mountain West Conference. Let's get into our week 9 interview. We got Timothy in the chat. This is what he wants. He's here for the Mountain West talk. Here we're going to give the people what they want. Boise State at Nevada. Amarian McCoy with an interception. He gets also banged up in this one, but he has 4 picks in his last 5 games. Nevada, 4th and 18. They run a fake field goal. Like what? What? You've already ran one. It was dumb. It fooled nobody. It was just awful. It was awful. Big play in the third quarter was a punt. Boise State punted to Nevada, and Nevada muffs it. Boise recovers at the 6, but I would say it was very questionable as to who recovered it. They gave the ball to Boise, but I'm not so sure that Boise recovered it. Both of them were holding on to the football. Tie goes to the offense, I think, but they gave it to Boise. It felt real weird. Nevada defense played really well in this game. Had their offense been decent at all, Nevada probably would have won this game. MACtion, like I said, played like an underclassman in this game. Too many mistakes for Nevada's offense as Carter Jones threw too many interceptions. Cyrus Gaines had 7 carries inside the 5-yard line for a total of 3 yards. He did have a 2-yard touchdown on the day, but the offensive line got worked. This Nevada defense, really good. The offense is kind of standing in their way. And it was a celebration for Nevada as they celebrated. I'm trying to remember what team it was, but the Colin Kaepernick team. They celebrated that team as they had a big win over Boise in that year, whatever it was, 2008, 2009, something like that. Celebrated that team.
Yeah, Edge Dylan LaBarbera, he's the real deal.
So good. He
is so good for the Wolfpack. I highly doubt they'll be able to hold on to him after the season, but man, he's a beast.
Did not mention the score, but Boise State wins 24-3. but it felt much closer than that game. Saturday games, San Diego State at Fresno State. Carson Conklin in at quarterback for Fresno State. San Diego State defense put the clamps on Fresno State's offense as they allowed 116 total yards in the first half. Lucky Sutton had 21 rush attempts, 131 yards, and a touchdown as San Diego State rolls in this one, 23-0.
San Diego State, just another dominant performance by them. Offense and defense looks really, really good. There's an argument that they're the best team in the Mountain West, and I think they very well might be.
I think that I don't know if they played Boise, but I think they would beat them head up.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Utah State at New Mexico. New Mexico starts off hot with a punt return for a touchdown. Then they intercept Barnes and go on a touchdown drive. New Mexico up 14-0 early in the second. Later in the quarter, they force a safety and kick a field goal. And then the teams trade touchdowns. It's New Mexico at the half, 26-7. Then we have a punt fest in the third, but Utah State scores a touchdown in the fourth to cut it to 12. But New Mexico would respond with a touchdown of their own and shut down any type of comeback. Typical New Mexico tight end has a big day. However, it wasn't Dorian Thomas. It was Cade Keith with 7 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown as New Mexico wins this one, 33-14. All right, Colorado State at Wyoming, 64 yards of total offense for Colorado State in
It was ugly.
the first
It was
half.
a brutal game.
You know that meme when they're like holding the eyes open and it's like, you must watch this. Like
I was laying in bed watching. I mean, I fell asleep during the game, but like I saw most of the first half. It was
that's what it was like.
It was. I will say, like, I thought the Wyoming offense looked better under Bo Knight as the new OC. Colorado State just didn't look good at all. They had the coaching change. I don't know that they're going to see any different results for the rest of the season. That team just look lost.
And after Wyoming scored a touchdown in the third to go up 28-0 with 10:51 to go in the third, Colorado State hasn't moved the ball more than 20 yards, but one time in the game, Wyoming just ran the ball 12 out of 16 plays were run. Like, it's just like, all right, let's get this game done. Darius Curry plays the fourth quarter quarterback for Colorado State as Jackson Brousseau had 3 interceptions of this one. Chris Durr with another nice game for Wyoming, 7 receptions on 7 targets for 67 yards and a touchdown. Yep. Let's move into our week. Oh, bowl eligible. I keep forgetting. We've got Boise State. We've got Hawaii, UNLV, and San Diego State. We got 4 teams coming out of the Mountain West right now. Now, let's head into our Week 10 previews, our Saturday games. Note, Air Force was covered in our American Week 10 preview for their matchup with Army. So if you want to go check out the Air Force Week 10 preview, go check in our American clip. Now let's get to our New Mexico versus UNLV. Tim is very, very interested in this one. New Mexico at UNLV, 3 p.m. Eastern. UNLV favored by 4.5. Over under set at 61.5. I feel like I'm going to lay the points with UNLV, but like I kind of have this like internal thing that just tells me anytime UNLV is playing, just to bet the over. Like, I don't care like what the teams are, just always bet the over. But like New Mexico's defense is pretty good, so I'm like, I don't know, but like part of me's like, give me the over because it's UNLV. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if New Mexico can not turn the ball over, they can win this game. They gotta not turn the ball over. I think it's gonna be a good game. It could be a high scoring affair. The New Mexico defense is the better defense of the two.
Jackson Eck, just awesome.
Offensively, I might give a slight edge to UNLV in this game, but I think it should make for a good game. And to your point, like if I'm gonna bet something, I'm probably gonna bet the over. Could be a high scoring affair there in Vegas. Be like winning the slot machine. Ding, 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 all over the place.
All right. Fresno State at Boise State, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Boise State favored by 17.5. Over under set at 50.5. I want no part of this game, but this line either tells me that people think Boise State's really good, or EJ Warner not playing in this one for Fresno. I'm going to stay clear of this one.
Yeah, Fresno State's. I mean, they have not been playing well at all. Boise State, yeah. Boise State, I think, is gonna roll. I don't.
Actually,
I think 17.5 seems like a lot of points, but yeah, I steer clear of this game. I don't think this is going to be a good game at all.
All right, Wyoming at San Diego State, 7 p.m. kickoff. San Diego State favored by 10.5. Over under set at 42.5. Let me lay the points with San Diego State in the 10.5. This team is legit. Part of me thinks to even take the over at 42.5. I think their offense is pretty explosive. But,
I don't know. I think I'd leave me under in this game.
Well, it's like because it's all going to be San Diego State. Like I don't know how many points Wyoming's going to score, so that's why I think I go with San Diego State 10.5, and I'm going to lay.
I'm gonna if I'm betting something this game, I'm gonna take the under. But yeah, San Diego State's been dominant. I haven't seen anything out of Wyoming, especially with this game being at Snapdragon Stadium. I think San Diego State's gonna continue to show their dominance in the Mountain West.
All right, in a game that I think is poorly priced in terms of the over under, we've got Hawaii at San Jose State, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. San Jose State favored by 2.5, which I think is on the wrong side of this one. I also think the over-under set at 57.5 is way too low. Give me the over in this one.
Yes, yeah, I think I like Hawaii and the over, man. Like to me, if you like offense, this is the game. This is the game of the week right here. It should be two high flying offenses. Walker Eaget passing. Hopefully, Danny Scudero's healthy, right? He had a bye week to get healthy. You're going to see, some of the, better passing offenses. Hawaii with Mike Alejado throwing it to Pofele Ashlock and Jackson Harris. Jackson Harris has been on a tear as of late. Should be a really fun and exciting game. One that I'm definitely going to stay up and watch. 10:30 p.m. Eastern start time. But if you're not going out on Saturday night, tune into this game. I don't think you'll be disappointed getting to see Mike Alejado, like I said, Jackson Harris, Pofele Ashlock, and then Danny Scudero. Potentially could be another Triple Crown winner, right? Potentially there at San Jose State. We saw Nick Nash win the Triple Crown there a year ago. Can Danny Scudero do it at San Jose State as well? I don't know, but he's been having an amazing season. I think this is going to be a shootout, high-scoring affair. Give me Hawaii and the 2.5 points and the over of 57.5. That makes zero sense to me. That over-under is only 57.5.
None at all. All right. Let's head on over to the Mid-American Conference Week 9 in review. Saturday games, Bowling Green at Kent State. Roughly through 3.5 quarters, it was all Bowling Green as they were up 21-3. But then Kent State gets a touchdown followed by a Bowling Green 3-and-out. And a one-play, 45-yard touchdown run by Garcia makes it 21-17 in favor of Bowling Green. Kent State would score a touchdown with about 3 minutes to go in the game to go up 24-21. Bowling Green goes for it on 4th and 11 from the Kent State 49, and they complete the pass, but it's only for 10. They needed 11. Kent State takes over on downs. Kent State holds on to win and come back 24-21. Ohio at Eastern Michigan. Parker Navarro with a couple of costly turnovers. Both happened in the third quarter. First was at the Eastern Michigan 18. They're down 14-7. Eastern Michigan intercepts them at the 3-yard line. The second was in the end of the second half. No big deal there. But in the third, Ohio would get a touchdown. Eastern Michigan would miss a field goal. The game's tied at 14 at this point. Now, in the fourth quarter, Ohio scores a touchdown with about a minute to go in the quarter to go up 21-14. Ohio would score again with I think I said with a minute to go. With about a minute to go into the quarter, they go up 21-14. Ohio would score again with 2:15 left in the game. They're up 14. Ohio ends up winning 28-21. Chase Hendricks had a day, 10 receptions, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. On the other side of the ball, Nick Devereaux had 5 receptions, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns of his own. Ohio continues to come out slow in the first half and continues with the turnovers. Have not played up to snuff what I think that they are capable of this year.
Yeah, I agree. They've underwhelmed. I still think they're the best team in the MAC, but they've underwhelmed for sure.
All right, Akron at Buffalo. Al-Jay Henderson had a fumble at the 3-yard line as he was going in for a touchdown. Buffalo could have been up 10-3. Instead, not so much. It's 3-3 Buffalo with the ball, or Akron with the ball. Roberson throws 4 back breaking interceptions in the game. Linebacker Gage Summers had 2 of them, one in the third, and it was he had 3 total in the fourth quarter. After 1 in the third, Akron would score a touchdown, take the lead 24-13. The other 3 came as they were trying to make their comeback. Ben Finley fuels the Zip as he throws for 2 touchdowns, runs in for another as the Zips win this one 24-16. Nick McMillan, another big day for him as he had 8 receptions for 177 yards. But again, Akron with the win. Toledo at Washington State. Chip Trainum out again. First quarter, there were 5 punts. Second quarter was all Washington State, 3 touchdowns and 1 Toledo touchdown. It's 21-7 at the half. Quarter 3, 2 punts, 2 turnovers, 1 turnover on downs. Fourth quarter was a little bit more excitement. We had 1 punt, 1 interception, 2 turnovers on down, 1 Washington State touchdown. Washington State cruises in this one, 28-7.
You got bad Tucker Gleason again, so maybe you'll get good Tucker Gleason coming up here soon.
All right. Then we've got Western Michigan at Miami. I was tuned in for this one because I was excited to see Western Michigan, and this is a back and forth in the first half. It's 14-9 in favor of Western Michigan. Personally, I thought Western Michigan offense actually looked pretty good. I hadn't really got a chance to sit down and watch the entire game, but I was actually pretty impressed. Trick for Miami defense had a huge forced fumble with just under 3 to go as they were up by 6. And a 51-yard field goal by Dom with under 2 made it a 9-point game, and that sealed it for Miami. But it was a good game. It wasn't like a team lost it. It was that huge play there by Trick that really forced things Miami's way. 26-17, Miami pulls this one out.
Yeah, Adam Trick has been a bright spot on that defense for the Red Hawks. He's one of the top edge rushers in the G5. He's been in our top 5 of Havoc rate for the last 3-4 weeks in a row. He's a good one. And then on the other side, Western Michigan, Nadame Tucker. He's had an outstanding year as well. Yeah, I think this week he's number 1 in Havoc rate in the G5. So two good edges in that game.
All right, this one will not take very long. UMass at Central Michigan. First quarter, all Central Michigan is there up 21-7. Third quarter, Central Michigan touchdown, UMass INT, Central Michigan touchdown. It's 38-13, Central Michigan after 3. This one's over. The game would end in that same score. Moving on to Ball State at Northern Illinois. This game is what I thought it would be, a rock fight. 21 total possessions. Obviously, you have one at the end of the half that kind of, and one at the end of the game where like you're kind of just whatever. They're pretty much toss-aways. So let's just say there's 19 total possessions in this, 8 punts, 1 turnover on downs, 1 missed field goal, 3 NIU turnovers, 2 Ball State turnovers. So that's 15 of the 20 possessions. So we're just kind of like whatever. Siobhan Wright does have 37 carries for 166 yards in this one. Telly Johnson had 15 for 100 and 1 touchdown in this one. NIU wins 21-7. I think what I was mostly I thought Quay Ashley would do more. I thought why am I blanking on the quarterback's name?
Kyle Kelly.
Kyle Kelly. I thought he would do more on the ground, but they were shut down. So, like I said, NIU wins. Week 10 preview. Saturday games. We have a whole bunch of MAC games. 2 of them. Buffalo at Bowling Green, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Bowling Green favored by 1.5 points. Over under set at 43.5. Give me Bowling Green laying the points.
You like that? I don't know, man. With no Drew
Buffalo.
Pine, I like Buffalo.
Buffalo's not been playing well.
They haven't been playing well, but given the quarterback situation at Bowling Green, I lean Buffalo in the game.
All right.
Maybe it's time for them to get right with. I mean, like, just feed Al-J Henderson, man. Like, how hard is that? You know,
they have been. He's like he's got like the second or third most touches in the whole G5. He hasn't been able to do anything with him. That
I don't know. But I still. If Drew Pine plays, yeah, I would agree with you. I like Bowling Green, but I think Drew Pine could be done for the season. And for that reason, I lean Buffalo. Buffalo played bad last week. Maybe this is gonna be a week where Buffalo plays good.
All right, and a game that I had circled on my calendar: Central Michigan at Western Michigan, rivalry game at Waldo Stadium. However, I thought it was going to be because Central Michigan had the better record and could be undefeated at this point, and really lead into a big November for them. It's actually opposite. Western Michigan with
they have the same conference record. They're both 3-1.
Yeah. So
Central Michigan does have the better record. They're 5-3 versus 4-4, but still, yeah.
Big game. Western Michigan favored by 4.5 points. Over under set at 40.5. I actually am going to take the over in the points at 40.5. I think they're going to score more points in this, but it is a rivalry game. I do think Western Michigan wins.
Yeah, I think I look for Brock Lowry to have a big game here for the Broncos to, on the ground, lead them to victory. I think I like the Western Michigan defense a little bit better than the Central Michigan defense. Again, two really good edges, though, in this game. You got Nadame Tucker, who I just talked about for Western Michigan, but then you got Michael Heldman for Central Michigan. Two of the better defensive ends in the group of 5. Both of those guys are in our 2020 players this week for Havoc rate. But yeah, I like Western Michigan laying the 4.5 points at home.
All right.
That's going to wrap things up for our conference review and conference previews. And now we're going to head over to our waiver wire, honey. After it's going to be our final one of the season with playoffs kind of starting up. But you'll notice a theme in my picks this week. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started here.
All right, quarterbacks. I say Cale Helms, Joe Fagano are my 2 quarterbacks. Cale, he's 7% owned. Fagano, 14% owned. Kale, his last 3 games, 27.74, 28.3, and 32.5 points, 6-point passing touchdown leagues. They've got Air Force allowing opposing quarterbacks 35.21 points per game. But let's be honest, Kale's more of a running back, and Air Force is allowing 34.09 points per game to the running back position. Joe Fagano, 14% owned. His last 3 games, he has been on fire. 38.6 points, 46.98 points, 32.76 points. They've got UAB this week, who is allowing 31.52 points per game to the opposing quarterbacks. Those are my 2 picks. All these numbers for defense points per game, courtesy of our G5 Hive data suite. I'm trying to remember what the exact thing is, but it's, points.
It's
defensive.
points, offensive points allowed. So it tells you how many points, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, that defense has given up so far in the 2025 season. My 2 quarterbacks, and you're going to notice a theme here with my waiver wire picks. I kind of really looked at matchups. The first one is Blake Baker, Louisiana Tech, only 3% owned. We talked about it in our Week 10 preview. He has a very, very juicy matchup against a very porous Sam Houston defense this week. He's a dual threat. He threw for a season-high 340 yards last week, added 49 rushing yards as well. Look for Louisiana Tech just to kind of roll the points up on that Sam Houston defense. So I like Blake Baker this week. And then Evan Simon at Temple, 13% owned. Talked about in our Week 10 preview. Great matchup this week with East Carolina. I think that game has a lot of shootout potential. Evan Simon had 32 points last week and 5 touchdowns versus the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. And then 27 the week before. I think he keeps that streak going, and he's going to have 25-plus points this week for the Owls as they take on East Carolina in a game that I think is gonna be a lot of points scored.
All right, Justice, who do you got for running backs?
All right, you'll notice a theme. The same 2 teams again. Going with Jay Ducker at Temple, 19% owned. Again, plays East Carolina. He's their workhorse back. He's had 18-plus points in the last 3 games. He had 26 points this past week. He's had 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Look for Jay Ducker to kind of punch it in for this Temple offense as they play East Carolina again, and what I expect to be a high-scoring game. Sticking with the theme, my other running back, Clay Thevenin from Louisiana Tech, 1% owned. They play Sam Houston this week. He had 20 points last week versus Western Kentucky. He has been very involved in the passing game the past 2 weeks with 4 and 7 targets. Look for him to be a big part of that Bulldogs offense as they just roll against the poorest Sam Houston defense. Who do you have, Luke?
Ja'Kale Middlebrook, Middle Tennessee. He's 29% owned. His last 3 games have been 25.1, 14.2, and 23.1. They've got Jacksonville State, who's allowing 27.23 points per game. He's toting the rock at like 55% of the rushing share, which is one of the tops in all of the nations. Usually got these backfields broken up. He's carrying it some of the most in for Middle Tennessee. He ranks 40th in the nation in touches per game with 16 and 31st in the nation in total yards per game with 99.67. His 5.67 targets per game out of the backfield is number 1 in the nation. So if you're worried about them falling behind, he's definitely used in that. And then Gabriel Benyard, wide receiver by trade, Fantrax, has dual eligibility. He's 24% owned. His last 3, 15.6, 19, and 14.7. A date with UTEP this week. UTEP allowing running backs 23.7 points. But like I said, Gabriel Benyard, more of a wide receiver. They are allowing 31.13 points to the wide receiver unit. And like Justice mentioned, who was it got banged up last week for Kennesaw State?
Wide
Wide receiver.
Oh no, it's running back Coleman Bennett.
Coleman Bennett. Okay, sorry. But I think he leads the team in target percentage. When they look to pass, they look his way. So look for Gabriel Benyard to do well this year. He's 59th in the nation in targets per game with that 7.17 and 70th in the nation in receiving yards per game with 66.33. If you need somebody, look for Gabriel Benyard. All right, wide receivers. You mentioned Iverson Hooks earlier. I say let's pick him up, 28th in the nation in targets per game with 8.14 and 28th in the nation in receiving yards per game with 80. His last 3 games, 11.1, 12, and 46.2. So if you need a boom week, he can give that to you. What changed? New head coach, new quarterback. Does it sustain? I mean, probably not at the clip of 46.2, but I do feel like he's got a safe floor and can give you a ceiling. He's leading the team in receptions per game, targets per game, receiving yards per game. Since Corey Milner's been out, it's been the Iverson Hooks show. UConn allowing 35.61 points per game to the wide receiver position. So I look for Iverson Hooks to do well in this one. And then Cortez Braham, wide receiver for Memphis, going up against Rice. He has a 21.4% target share. He's averaging 70.14 yards per game. The Rice defense allowing 32.5 points per game to the wide receiver room as a whole. Like I mentioned, that 70.14 yards per game that he has in receiving is 57th in the nation. His last 3 games, 10.6, 13.3, and 26.5. Justice, who are your wide receivers?
I broke my theme a little bit, but I still have a Temple player in here. So
I love it.
That's 3 for 3 for Temple guys. I got wide receiver Kajaya Holloway, Temple 2% owned. Again, East Carolina. They play East Carolina this week. Expect a high-scoring game. He's had double digits in his last 3, 36 points last week. His targets in the last 3 games, 11 targets, 9 targets, 15 targets, and he's had 4 touchdowns in those last 3 games. He's there. He's the man that Evan Simon's looking for. Expect him to have a big game in a shootout there versus East Carolina. And then my next receiver, this is really more of a play in PPR leagues. And that's Chauncey Cobb, Arkansas State. 5% owned. They do play Troy this week. He's had double-digit points in the last 4. He's a low ADOT guy, but, man, he gets targeted heavily in the last 4, 11 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets, and 15 targets. Again, much more of a PPR play than a no PPR league.
33 receptions in the last 4 games.
Yeah, they target Chauncey heavily. Again, very, very low ADOT stuff. So he's really, like I said, much more of a PPR play. All right, moving to tight ends. I thought about going with Peter Clark and making it 4 for 4 on Temple, but I just didn't do it. I went with Hunter Timpton, Middle Tennessee. He's only 2% owned. I talked about him earlier. They played Jacksonville State this week. He's had double-digit points the last 2 weeks, 16 points last week, 11 and 6 targets in the last 2. He's really kind of come on strong this last 2 weeks. He has wide receiver and tight end eligibility in Fantrax. I feel good about rolling Hunter Timpton out there at tight end if you need a tight end this week against Jacksonville State for the Blue Raiders.
All right, I'm going to take in Gavin Harris. His 5.33 targets per game is 14th in the nation, and his 53.83 yards per game is 4th in the nation. Like I said, Logan Fife and the Aggies are throwing the ball a lot. Definitely like top 20 in the nation. They have Western Kentucky this week, and the Western Kentucky is allowing 10 points per game to the tight end position. His last 3 games for Gavin Harris, 1.7 points, a dud, 10.2, and 9.5. Look for Gavin Harris to have a big game in Week 10. And that is our G5 Honey. That is our waiver wire. We are done for the year. We are now done for the night. That's it.
Yeah. Just want to thank all the supporters that have subscribed to the website, all the subscribers. If you're watching this and you have any suggestions, feedback, etc., feel free to shoot us a DM, me or Luke. You can find us and on X. We're in various Discords as well. So feel free to shoot us a message if you have any feedback, positive, negative, suggestions, etc. Love to hear any thoughts you got on our website, and thank you again for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, encourage you to subscribe. Go check out our X. The pinned post there has a promo code where you'll get your first year. So if you subscribe today, your year won't expire until October 28th, 2026. Basically get it at half price. So that deal is not going to last forever. I encourage folks to sign up now to get that deal versus waiting and then paying full price later. But nonetheless, thank you for all those that have subscribed. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. On X, give us a follow, a like, a retweet. If you're listening on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Once again, thanks everyone for all the support. Be sure to join us next week as we discuss what happened in Week 10, and we look forward to what's coming in Week 11. And as always, bring you up to speed on all the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. Till the next time, we are the G5 Hive.